some pretty standard bans there. Expected Thresh away from Krepo. Jace, of course, we saw Froggen going ham on it the other week. Twisted Fate also being taken away. Kind of a standard ban. But Shen, more importantly, is the one for me. Mokatte.
Yes, he played it, I think it was 5 times in the Summer Promotion Tournament, and he won like 4 of them. He's been playing Nautilus as well, so they really targeted him out. And then also the big thing is the Zyra. You normally never see the Zyra ban, but it's Libik. You banned Zyra against him. His Zyra, if I remember back to Intel Extreme Masters Singapore, where you were there with us, he was actually leading his team in kills. He was like 3-0 and 4 at some point in that game, and he's a phenomenal Zyra player. You've seen how many times just the ultimate in terms of, you know, zoning the team out, setting your team up for a fight can really work in your favor. And it looks like Evil Geniuses wasn't... I want to say that it looks like they weren't 100% prepared for those bans, but I honestly, I mean, come on, look at the bans anyways. It looks like they just want to take their time.
This one surprised me because actually Kha'Zix got through the last game, didn't even get picked. Whereas if you look at the North American LCS, like week 1, I think it was like 100% pick ban. This time, Evil Geniuses are going for Kha'Zix, and now, is that going to be Froggen or is that going to be Wickd? Because we've seen Wickd playing a number of different champions lately. Has he picked up Kha'Zix?
I'm trying to think back to a game where Froggen played Malphite, and he played like bot lane, and Wickd played middle lane for his team. I want to say that will be on Froggen because it seems like more of a style where Wickd will play like kind of supporty tank champions in the top lane, though. I mean, obviously he has played Zed before, but honestly, I really couldn't tell you where I think that's going to go 100%.
Well, Kubon has this selected right now, but I'm seeing giggles coming out from Libik, so I'm not sure this is quite going to go in there yet. Mokatte's discussing it. It's actually interesting to see how this team sits. Yeah, it is going to be Ellis. They're going to switch to it because that's exactly what Kubon will play all the time. They have a different setup from most teams. They'll actually have top, middle, then the jungler, then the AD support. So the brothers stay together, which is, you can see just after Libik, who's this ginormous unit on the right hand side of your screen. He's the support player. He's the biggest guy on the team. You wouldn't mess with him. But next to him is Makler and Mokatte, and there they are, the brothers Kukier. And they do sit together, and honestly, they are effectively the voice of the team as far as I can tell. Yeah, and I love how you mentioned how Libik is this big, strong guy, because back at DreamHack last week, I talked to him out one night, and he was saying, I was saying like, you know, you're really tall, you're really buff, like even I'm scared of you, and he's like, yeah, imagine me playing Soraka. And I laughed so hard, I felt so bad, but he's a really funny guy, and he's a very strong support player with this Elise, and Evil Geniuses letting Elise get through, it has to be a sign that Evil Geniuses, unless they didn't research at all about Meet Your Makers before this week, that they are prepared for this and they're going to do something about it. As you hear the crowd go crazy after Froggen hovers over that Nivea. You think you got enough of it last week at DreamHack? Yeah, it is great to see. Even the Russian crowd is cheering for Nivea Froggen. Everybody knows it. It is currently selected on, and you know what? You may well go for it, but is it going to be the Blitzcrank? Is it going to be the Nivea? Who knows? It's going to be Lulu for Krepo.
Oh, even I'm sad about that. But I mean, no point to pick it right off the bat since you don't know exactly what you're going against. But Snoopeh on Sejuani, honestly, I don't think it was that bad. I think he played pretty well on it, and I think he might have found. I feel like we're harping on too much about it over these past 11, 12 weeks, well, like 15 weeks. About him finding a jungler he's comfortable with, like he was back in Season 2 with like Maokai, with support champions. But it seems like he finally has gotten that with Sejuani. And of course, Lulu, it's Krepo. He plays a phenomenal Lulu.
Just seeing the Meet Your Makers bans. Actually, Nami being picked up to start with. We never really talked about it. It has been a very strong choice in the European LCS in the first week. And honestly, why not? We just saw it in the CIS tournaments as well, just how strong Nami can be. He was landing like multiple waves across all 4 members. The bubbles were setting up kills every other time he landed it.
Well, on the flip side of that, we saw, unfortunately, how bad it can be in a team composition with the last game with NIP Fnatic, where if you don't have a team, or if you're against a team that has really far range and you can't engage upon them, then you're really gonna have a tough time defending against them as well. So we'll see how it's actually gonna work out. But Nunu being sat on for Mokatte, honestly, that's a jungle that's right up his alley.
Do you think it's Mokatte or is it gonna be Libik? It's a champion that Libik used to play a hell of a lot.
I'm assuming since we have Nami, that will be a support Nami. Yeah. Honestly, it could happen. It really could. Czaru, he plays anything. I mean, he's already played his five champions. He needs another one. He needs a new one to show us. But
I don't think so.
We did see Aranea on Nunu against Evil Geniuses, I believe that was, and very strong jungler. Surprised to not see him banned out anymore, but then again, a lot of people don't play him in Europe in terms of the jungle, so we'll see how strong Mokatte actually is on that.
So it's going to be Froggen on Kha'Zix, which means it is going to be Wickd in that top lane. Actually, well, they could be in different lanes, but we assume that's the way it's going to go. I've never been sold on Wickd on Zac. It's one of the champions he has picked up lately. I'd like to see him on something a little bit more aggressive. We'll see how that works out. Ari, though, Czaru, actually used to be banned against him quite a lot, and if I recall game 1 at DreamHack, he played it and ripped everyone a new one.
It was against Caitlyn. And he teleported. I remember he teleported into the blue. I can't remember what game that was off the top of my head.
Just blew him up.
Yeah. I mean, well, when is he not going to run teleport? But yeah, Ahri, ridiculously strong champion, a very mobile champion. And when you're against a Kha'Zix, he's not going to close up the gap on you. You'll be able to get away easily with your 3 charges of that ultimate. But for me, honestly, it's not even about the Ahri. It's about the Kog'Maw. When do we ever see Kog'Maw anymore?
I know, and it's a champion that Makler was fairly famous for, along with Vayne, actually. In fact, now I come to think of it, there's a lot of AD carries that Makler's kind of been famous for.
Any micro-intensive champion, he's extremely good on. We saw actually him playing Kog'Maw back into Extreme Masters Cologne back in December, and his micro on it was just fantastic. And I talked to Krepo, actually, I believe it was last week, and he said that Makler and Libik, if he comes up against them, he just knows, like, this is going to be ridiculously hard.
And more importantly, the fact that Mokatte has got Nunu as well, which will be switched around.
Or he's
going to have that Blood Boil light on him as well. Yeah. So it's going to buff just even more. And it's usually Mokatte that's going to help his brother in the lane to gank.
Yeah, and it's really hard to lock him down because I can think of a game specific on Vayne where he would just micro around you the entire time, and he's just as good as that on Kog'Maw, which, you know, obviously doesn't have an escape. But it's going to be really hard for Evil Geniuses to get into that backline onto him. Though, I will say this, if you have Wickd lead the charge, or maybe Snoopeh's ultimate, and you have that Lulu knockup come in, you can really catch him off guard and blow him up before he can do anything.
Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone sat in the darkness in the crowd. We wouldn't want to hurt their little dangerous gamer eyes.
Sun!
Don't worry, I'm the same. You know, I had a little bit of sunshine in Sweden. I swear to God, I burnt my arms. Like, 30 minutes I was studying it. I was just like, God, my pale gamer skin just can't handle this stuff. So we are beautifully sat in the darkness. Of course, these guys are ready and waiting to go. The blue screen, of course, is going to be Evil Geniuses. There is Snoopeh right in your vision. And, of course, on the red side, Meet Your Makers. Currently coming into this one, 4-1. Can they stretch the lead to 5-1? Can they try and challenge Alternate, currently at the top of the league? Alternate, of course, will be playing Gambit after this game.
That's going to be a good game.
That is going to be a good game. It's funny, actually, that game, because Aranea was like, well, how do we win this? Because if we win, all the Russian crowd are going to be annoyed with us. If we lose, well, we lose our perfect record. So it's like I can't win, man.
I hope they hired Heaton, who's here, to be their bodyguard for him or something like that.
Get someone that size. But we are about to get into the game, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be Evil Geniuses versus Meet Your Makers. You can see there Meet Your Makers as the red team will be playing from top to bottom, and Evil Geniuses, of course, bottom to top. What are we expecting here? You know, Joe Miller, he predicted and called the Fnatic level 1 play. Is there anything that these teams have up their sleeve that you know about?
I personally do not know. I didn't talk to him about their level 1 action just yet, but I mean, EG, they've always really been vocal about level 1 and how they always research it, they always prepare for it. But the way they're setting up, it looks like they won't try to go for anything in particular here. But one thing I want to point out just before we get too far into the game, Kubon's running 14 flat Magic Pen. So it's a little bit different from what you see out of most Elises or just any AP champion. But we did see how well that penetration build on SOAS worked last game against NIP. We do have Snoopeh, though. He's in the vicinity of Meet Your Makers, but it's a Nunu. That's the tricky part. Will he counter jungle you? Because if you look at his items, he's actually very heavy utility.
Well, there's a bit of poking back and forth. You got the two here with the jungler and support, and the jungler and support just above them. And it's the same with the AD carries, actually, down the river. They're both sort of poking back and forward, walking around. But I think Meet Your Makers are going to go and try and put this ward placement here. Makler's just chasing his little fly that's in front of him. That's what they do. We are seeing the ward has gone down from Evil Geniuses. Pete's backing off into the tri-bush. Ward was placed. That was his blue ward, Explorer ward, that was placed there. So just a short duration on that one. It does mean that Snoopeh's going to be starting off at the Wraiths. Is he on his own there? Is he on his own on Wraiths? Yes, he is, I think. Yeah. So he's going to be on Roan, and that's obviously given Wickd and Froggen the power to get in here. Czaru, though, look at this. He's sat ready and waiting. He knows that this is coming. And they are not risking it because it's actually going to be an evade. They're just past the Explorer ward, and Meet Your Makers are going in for the red buff steal. That's going to be surely advantage given to Meet Your Makers because Evil Genius is not in position to react to this one.
And look what Meet Your Makers are doing on their own red buff right now. If we can take the camera over there, they're taking it themselves with Ellis and with Czaru on Ahri. So they're pretty much eliminating the fact, or the possibility that Snoopeh can take his blue and then go still red away. So this is a phenomenal job by Meet Your Makers. It's something reminiscent of what we saw SK do to them back at Gamescom. But this is really going to set Snoopeh behind where at level 6, that's where he shines with his ganking.
And just look how many wards have been placed around that red jungle. they are going to potentially look for an invade as well. So Mokatte, that was a smiteless take as well, by the way. So he's going to go around to the blue buff and pick that one up himself as well. No problems. MYM starting off wonderfully.
Yeah, we've talked about how they like to ward everything they possibly can. You mentioned the 3 pink wards around blue buff on their game last week, but they're going to know exactly where Snoopeh is this entire time. And one reason MYM likes to ward up like this is the fact that Czaru runs teleport, so he will always have an opportunity to make a play happen if he sees it fit. And Snoopeh, not to mention, he was sitting at a lower health than this currently, but he did have the possibility of being ganked. And sorry to cut you off there, but I love what UG's doing right here. I noticed, because they're pushing the lane against MYM, and Kog'Maw has such a tough time last hitting first of all, but has such a tough time shoving a wave back at you.
Well, they hit level 2 first, which is why they're trying to zone it out as much as possible, and that is working wonderfully. Look at that brilliant shot from Pete there just to land it on Makler. That's taking him very low, but Mokatte is coming down. I'm not sure they're in the position to go for this one. Still in level 2. Now he's going to get the slowdown on him. Libik comes in. He doesn't manage to land that Aqua Prison, and immediately he took some damage on him. And again, the poke back and forward, but they've hit level 2. But look at this, Pete's already 3.
And this is something that I didn't want to point out earlier in case it didn't happen, but Krepo always talked to me about how he realizes that if you put a kink in the bottom of the MYM, I mentioned earlier about the whole machine of them, but if you mess up Makler and Libik, they have the toughest of times to come back. Like Krepo said, he's scared of their combo when they're playing right, but if you mess them up, he knows that they can beat them, and that's what they're doing right now off the bat.
Well, we'll see how it works out. Of course, that brother Mokatte will come down and help him out. Looks like he's going in towards the Wraith at the moment because that is available. Has got smite up. We'll see what Snoopeh does. Snoopeh going in towards the mid lane. Kubon also going on towards Wickd, but it's the mid lane where it's all happening. Czaru is going to get caught out here. Is it enough damage? That's the question. He's going to get back to the tower and just about plays it safe. Wickd also taken incredibly low at the top there by Kubon. But now look at the jungle invade from Mokatte. While this is all happening, Mokatte's come around. He's taken the Wraiths away, taken the big golem away. He's hit and run, and now he's heading for the bottom lane. He's going to come around the backside of him. He's going to be in towards Pete. The slow actually going down. He's going to get the ice blast. Is it Krepo they're going to go for this time around? Yes, it is, but not really the damage coming out. Oh, Aqua Prison comes out. Flashed out from Krepo, but that's a summoner spell burnt. Mokatte just chomps on down, consumes that minion, and walks away.
In the meantime, Snoopeh was counter-jungling himself and heading up towards the top side of the map. Like, they realized they put the kink in the bot lane, the AD carry support. If they can now shut down Kubon, they are going to have such a strong game as this game goes on.
There's a launch, and Kubon actually dodges out of that one. Gets the cocoon down, and Snoopeh's going to turn the aggression round. Has he got enough in him? He's going to force the flash out of Snoopeh. He's going to repel back in there. He's going to sink them fangs down. One more hit. He's got the minions as well. It will go down. Wickd does pick up the kill, but first blood, more importantly, went to Kubon. Krepo now very low in the bottom lane. He's forced to back away, and Meteor Maker's keeping the aggression flowing, but Evil Geniuses be able to counter it very well.
And unfortunately, this happened for Evil Geniuses against Alternate last week, where they went for a 3-man dive bottom lane against Kerp on his Shen, and Snoopeh, unfortunately, on Jarvan actually died in that. I believe actually it was Yellowpete was the first one, but they ended up dying on that, and that's really unfortunate. He loses his double buffs. He gives over that first blood to Kubon now, who has a chalice. It's just going to be really tough now for Wickd. I mean, luckily he did pick up a kill himself, but Kubon is a fantastic Elise player.
And more importantly, while this has all been happening, Czaru yet hasn't... he did teleport, but he came back to the mid lane, simply used to get himself back in lane, keep that experience flowing. He's probably going to hit 6 before Froggen here. Froggen, actually, tell a lie, Froggen just hit 6, so his Void Spikes will evolve in a moment when he gets a spare second. He can't evolve them while he's trying to clear out this wave, though. It does take that little second of time. The ping goes down. It does mean that Czaru is heading north. He's simply putting that ward down in the river banana bush, and he's going to play himself safe.
And it looks like Yellowpete's actually going to be going for that blue Ezra build, which you didn't see earlier on today in the CIS matches. And I'm assuming that Makler will be going for his Blade of the Rune King. But at the moment, he has 2 Doran's Blades. He's really scared of the damage Yellowpete can put down. And so do you see Wickd going up top against Kubon here?
Well, it does mean that Snoopeh's coming in again. This time the Kubon has managed to use the repel. Flash comes out. Snoopeh tries to charge on him, and Kubon escapes brilliantly.
Fantastic job out of him. That was actually very close for Snoopeh. Landed that still. They might be able to pick up the kill here. You see Snoopeh, he realizes, I keep saying this, but he realizes that their bottom lane is doing well. They're ahead in CS. They're constantly pushing MYM here, so he's committing his time over towards his top lane just to shut down Kubon as much as possible.
Now, we'll see how that works. Kubon actually has gone for the Chalice early on, along with the Doran's Ring, so not going straight for that Haunting Guise that we've seen so many times. And you were mentioning this at the start, how he builds it differently in terms of mastery. It seems to build it differently in terms of items as well. Libik getting caught by the Glitter Lances there on Krepo. Is a little bit of damage put down, but CS-wise, we can see Pete, of course, that advantage he built up early is still continuing. Where is Kubon going? He wants to get a steal.
I'm not sure if he can pull this one off, but he does catch Froggen.
He does manage to catch in. 6 the fangs down. We're going to get the Ice Blast from Mokatte as well. He's had to jump across. They're trying to go for the blue steel. Mokatte has got Smite. He's going to come around. He's going to force him to have to use the Smite here. He hits it. He runs. Are they going to be able to get away? Let's Bounce comes out. There's the stun coming out. Mokatte does flash away. He's got away with it.
I don't think it's over just yet, Demon.
I don't think it is, because Czaru is going to come in. He does manage to take down Snoopeh. Have they got the aggression to go on to Froggen? Froggen's going to use those voice bugs. He's going to get the slowdown on Krepo. But Kubon, sorry, he repels. He's just going to drop straight back there. Kubon is going to go down. Does manage to put the cocoon down, but he's not good enough to escape there. And it is a straight 1-for-1. But more importantly, Mokatte got the blue buff.
Mokatte, the size of the snowballs on him must be ridiculous. Just to go in there like that, steal away from right under their nose, flash away and escape, and you really have to give credit to Czaru, who didn't have his teleport available, was able to come in there in time, was able to pick up a kill, and that gives him a nice little start here as he has that cloth armor. But I mean, as MYM makers, you gotta say worth it. Even though Kubon did die, they stole away the blue buff, but as we were saying before, Kubon, very strong Elise player. If he falls behind, I'm worried if he'll be able to catch back up.
Well, we'll see whether he does. Blue buff is going to be given to Czaru. That is quite important. It's not ultra important for Froggen to get it, but it would help him massively in terms of farming for the void spikes and keeping the pressure down. Of course, he is a man that will be able to farm quite crazily regardless. I think once the tier of Galaxy gets built up, we'll see how he goes with it. Makler, he is falling behind in the farm, but he's trying to keep up with Pete every time he gets pushed up against that wave. But we've talked about this so many times in the past. You know, a Cogmore will be behind in lane, but if he can keep close to you, it's going to become danger late game.
Yeah, it's just like a Vayne. Like, if you can just keep up, or maybe within 10 CS difference when you get out of that laning phase, you become such a nuisance later on. Even Geniuses, I know I mentioned it before, are going to have a tough time locking him down, but, you know, if they pull it off correctly, with, you know, the whole Zac initiate with the Sejuani lockdown and Froggen just jumping on top of him, and Guma stopping him pretty much, then they can blow him up and just eliminate quite a bit of damage, because, you know, luckily for Evil Geniuses, MYM makers doesn't really have a tanky lineup.
Yeah, we're going to see what sort of build Wickd goes with here. I remember seeing it when Soaz first started it, when Zac was just first introduced. There was a number of different builds that came out for Zac.
Right.
You can go that Magic Pen, which is the route he's going right now. It's got the Haunting Guys, or you can go tanky, but I don't think tanky's kind of needed, especially when there's a Cogmore on the opposition team.
Well, when we saw Soaz actually play him, he mentioned that if you're ahead in lane, build some damage, you'll do fine. If you're behind in lane, build straight tank, because then you'll be just as useful later on. And Wickd, I mean, he has the lead. He's 1 kill, 1 assist, has, you know, some CS advantage built up, so he's going to have the damage to really apply some pressure. But we see a 3-man gank developing over towards the top side here. Froggen swung around to help out, but Czaru's just pushing that middle lane, and Kubon looks like he's going to escape this one unscathed, and in the meantime, Czaru should be able to get some damage onto the middle turret.
Well, I think they wrongfully thought he got spotted, but they said they're going to go for Czaru. Czaru has got his ultimate available, so he should be able to get away from this one. There's the first dash. Does go back in aggressive, puts the aggression down on towards Snoopeh, and he's not really worried about that. No care was given by Czaru. And you talked about this at the start, you know, you're not going to be able to pin him down that easily.
I was worried, though, that he came back in because, oh, we do see Nunu coming up for the bot lane gank here. He's still backing off. I was going to say, like, Czaru going back in on his second charge, he could have been locked down with the Sejuani ultimate. That's what I was like, oohing about, but looks like nothing will happen in the bottom lane.
It's a fairly slow one to throw out, though, so you'd assume he'd be able to dodge out. He would have the reaction certainly a lot faster than my old arms could work it. But Krepo down this bottom lane, I think that gank down the bottom here we just didn't really happen, but simply because Libik missed the Aqua Prison.
Yeah, definitely. And not to mention, there is no ward. Actually, no, there is no ward in the tri-bush, so it wouldn't have been spotted. But in the meantime, Czaru actually spotting Froggen here. As you talk about Froggen constantly farming, he's going to get him relatively low, but it looks like he's going to back away and takes actually a lot of damage.
Big ball coming out there from Czaru. He's got the blue buff on him. Remember, he hasn't got his ultimate available. Kubon taken very low on the turret. But look at Snoopeh. Is the ignite going to be enough? While this happened, Froggen has gone down. Kubon does manage to get the passive popped. He's going to be able to chomp down. One more tower hit will do it, and it is Kubon that picks up the kill. So that's 2 kills back to back, quickly picked up by MYM makers.
And not to mention, that's the second time in a row that Kubon picked up 1 kill in a 1v2 fight. I mean, luckily for him, he didn't die this time, but that just shows how strong he is. Knockpress is going to land on Krepo.
They're going to land it down. It's going to be the ultimate throw. No, he's got both of them. Is it going to be enough? The ignite will take down Krepo. Doesn't matter. Makler finishes it with the ultimate. Turns back on towards Yellowpete. Yellowpete's got to be careful because here comes Czaru. That is why he has the teleport, and that is another kill for MYM makers.
I have to apologize for that girly squeal right there, but just seeing the amount of knockups they used onto Yellowpete right there to keep him locked down for the Cogmod damage on the The ultimate was just fantastic. And now they're able to push this turret. And we talked about Czaru multiple times. Takes teleport every single time in every single game, and is it really worth it? And he just proved right there that yes, teleport in this game
worked wonders. So that's going to be the second turret of the game that they pick up. They've already just taken the mid turret a moment ago, and this also is the trigger of the dragon. 12.5 minutes gone. They're getting in there. Libik's just got taken down, melted effectively by Froggen. That's how quick a Kazakhs can pick it up. It also means that MYM's back away from that dragon.
And one thing that's really scary off the entire exchange and MYM taking the first turret is, in all of their LCS games to date so far, they've taken the first turret every single time. It's normally a little bit earlier than this, but still, they're 4-1, and that might be a sign.
Yeah, even against Alternate, the game that they lost, they did take the turrets first. I remember it well, and that's like I was talking about. They went aggressive, and we'll see what they do now, because now that they've taken all those towers, there's just the top one remaining, they'll generally get in and ward the hell out of the opposition jungle. So we'll see how it follows. There is only one ward picked up. There's a Seeker's Ruby side zone actually being picked up there.
And that's the thing. I really like how you pointed out how Mitch makers like the ward up and be aggressive, is that against every team, they like to control the pace. Kubon might get caught here, though.
It's going to get dived on. Wicked's there as well. Snoopeh, but just off to the side, he's got Czaru. Look at the damage that game point down there. He repels away back on towards Snoopeh. Snoopeh's going to get taken low. Does use that glacial prison. Czaru comes in. He cleans up, picks up one. It's going to be the absolute zero coming out. It's going to hit absolutely zero. Wicked just about avoided that one. Czaru didn't bother following.
Wow, Kubon again 1v2. Now Makler's going to head against Froggen here. Froggen, that should be an easy kill.
It should be an easy kill, but he does flash away to his turret and safety there, and Makler has managed to escape. So every time a fight develops, Meteor Makers have an answer for it, and now there's a 3-man push in the mid lane.
Okay, I can see what's happening right now. It's the fact that Meteor Makers, they like to control the game. They like to take the first turret. They like to control when they get out of that laning phase, etc. But Evil Geniuses, they're the ones trying to take control of this game. And the only team that was successful to do it against MYM was Alternate. Just the fact that MYM would ward up their jungle, they would be like, no, we're not going to fight in our own jungle. We're going to push you back to yours. And it's just a clashing of these two teams of not wanting to give that aggression up. And MYM, their continuous aggression, trying to take away this red buff from Snoopeh.
Yeah.
They've done it before. But it looks like Snoopeh's just waiting out, expecting something to happen.
Well, Snoopeh caught them, a glimpse of them in the river, so he knows that they're around there somewhere, but we see the fact that the ward is on that bush. Czaru may well come back to this one, I'm not too sure. Yes, he is. Czaru's heading down here. Has got his ultimate available. Will he try and get in and get the steal? Or more importantly, pick up those kills? We see Libik in there. Puts the glacial prison down. It is going to be Snoopeh that picked it up, though. And they are going to back away. It was the aqua prison, sorry. But Makler's in trouble. He is dead, surely. The wave comes across. Froggen does pick up the kill. He's going to have the reset. Will he be able to jump away from this one? No, he will not, because the charm comes out from Czaru. And again, every time they pick up a kill, it gets responded in kind by Meteor Makers.
And Krepo's so close to getting in there. He popped the ultimate on a Froggen, but it just wasn't enough. But still, in the meantime, Evil Geniuses, they're going to push up this mid turret here. They should have the damage for it. Instead, they're going to back away. Mokatte's actually going to catch Snoopeh here. Or actually, it might be the other way around, as there's more members of UG in the vicinity. And just constant action of these teams, just going head to head.
It is aggressive stuff. 8-5 in kills and just 2,000 gold between them at the moment. We do see that Kubon defended off that turret very well, but look at Czaru. Look at him already. He's got that Zhonya's hourglass. He's 5-0-0. He is a machine. I said when all of these teams qualified, just how goddamn good all the mids in Europe are right now. All 8 of them are absolutely astounding. And as soon as we saw the likes of Czaru, the likes of Lord, and the likes of Nukeduck all stepping in and replacing, it was like, God, this is going to be a fierce battle in the mid lane.
And what makes it more scary is he never runs Ignite. No. I'm just imagining how many kills and how aggressive and how much control you'd have over a lane if he did run that. But he uses the teleport as like a selfless thing just to help his team out. But the Inkster Makers, they're going to go for a 4-man push here, a 5-man push here. And right now, Wicked is not positioned, neither is Froggen.
Yeah, they're well away from this one. And the Meteor Makers, they're going to take this turret down. There's nothing they can do about it. Blood Bowl goes on towards Makler. They're chunking it down. They can see it's already half dropped. They do manage to land one bit of damage. They've spotted out the fact that they'd stopped pushing the top and the bottom, actually, which is why they just backed away from this one. They didn't want to get caught by Let's Bounce from Wicked. Put the ward down and say hello.
And speaking of wards, 7 wards actually, down right now for Meteor Makers.
What's Polish for hello? You got to know this one.
I only know Dziękuję, which means like thank you.
Well, okay, we'll do that one then. I'm glad you could have gone for the other one, because we know what that one is.
Yeah.
We best not say that on air. We might be in trouble with the big bosses. It's going to be the Aqua player. Prison actually landed on Krepo. The wave comes out there. They haven't really fully backed it up, but Snoopeh's had the wild growth put on him. Czaru does come in. He mops up one. Will he go for a second? That's going to be Wickd jumping in towards him. Sonya's hourglass comes out there. Absolute zero will pop, and that will be Wickd going down. Yellowpete tries to close in, though. Can they have? They got the damage. Froggen's going to try and jump in, but he's straight on towards the turret. He will go down, but it's going to be Yellowpete picking up one kill. Can they chase on towards him? They need to try and get Makler's ultimate to give him the eyes. It's going to be Mokatte taking very low. There's the eyes that they needed, but everybody else from Meteor Makers backing away from this one. Trisha Barrage goes out. Will it catch anyone? No, they were all just off to the left, and you know what? I think he may have got them.
That's not the ace in the hole that we saw out of the NALCS, but my God, Czaru, do you miss a charm? Like, I have to ask him this. He does not miss anything because that charm was so perfect. Froggen jumped into the back and he just charmed him, saved Libik's life, and they just were able to control that fight. Just so well done by Meteor Makers. The 7 wards they had down are finally diminishing away, but this aggression is really hard. Evil Geniuses, they don't really seem to have an answer for it. I mean, they're trying to be just as aggressive back, but it's not working out for him.
It's all in the hair. He is Prince Charming.
Yeah, it is. It is fat. I wish I could grow my hair like that.
I could imagine
it just gets
you with
curly.
hair like that. That would be interesting. Any caster, honestly, with a I wouldn't say a mullet. It's not quite a mullet. He's got the sides on there and everything. But any caster,
I think we're just sticking a hole here now.
That would be funny. It would be funny, honestly. Kalaris is the only one I can think that comes remotely close. Daniel Klein. Yeah, it's not the same. He's got some proper metal hair going on.
He does.
It's almost like death metal sort of stuff he's got going now. But nevertheless, we're completely avoiding the game. 11 kills, 7-0-1 for Czaru, and 0-0-7 for Mokatte. He has been there every time that things happen, and Kubon, he's kind of been all on his own in this top lane, and he kind of all on his own again. He's going to have Mokatte joining him. They're going to have to dive him here. And honestly, what are they thinking? Is Froggen going to go for this one? He's gone into the tri-bush. Still think they're going to stick around. Mokatte has backed away from this one. No, he's just going to simply go down the bottom. He's going to see them pop out. He's putting all his wards down. While this is all happening, though, they are driving down the mid lane. Oh, look at this.
That's a lot of time, though.
There's a lot of time to stick around. They're going to jump on towards Kubon. Repels away. He's got minions to go to. And does he go to them? Yes, he does. In comes Mokatte from the side. If they die this, they are going to be in trouble. It's going to be Let's Bounce coming out from Wicked. But, well, now it's Let's get the hell out of there because Absolute Zero comes out. He's going to turn around. Sinks the Fangsing. Mokatte picks up the kill with the Absolute Zero. And now Libik comes in. Kubon, Froggen's in trouble. Oh, dodges out the way. The cocoon. Libik picks up another kill. And now, wow, Meteor Makers. Honestly, from absolute a skank setup from Evil Genius there, turn it around once again, counter them completely. It's 13-5 in kills.
Demon, that is the third time Evil Geniuses have tried a 2-man gank against him in the top lane, and that is the third time he was able to pick something off of it if he didn't survive completely. And now Meteor Makers are going to go for Baron here. Honestly, it looks like a pretty easy one for themselves.
The mid lane, though, Czaru is coming around. The rest of Meteor Makers are picking up the Baron, but it's going to be the mid lane that are in trouble. Here he comes again. Froggen just getting absolutely melted. Oh, does miss the charm. Would you believe it? The hair is not quite working for him. It's going to be the flash coming out there. Snoopeh taken so low. There's the Baron pickup. Has got flash if he really wants to go for this one, but as soon as Wicked shows himself, he will back away. But Czaru effectively 2v1 in Snoopeh and Krepo.
That damage was ridiculous, and he probably has the money right now to buy something. Yeah, 1,600 gold to spend. He's going to have that DFG really soon, and I don't think anyone on EG would survive that damage. And Wicked right now, look at how hurt he is in items. He has a Negatron cloak, sword boots with home guard, and a haunting guise. Like, he doesn't have anything right now. He's sitting on 5,000 gold, and he's supposed to be like their tanky man to go to, like him and Snoopeh, and he can't even afford to jump into the back line.
Wow. So at the moment, there's objectives being gained all across the map. Meteor Makers taking all the outer turrets, taking the middle inner turret. They have just lost their first turret of the game, which was that bottom lane. Froggen, he's still desperately trying to build up that mirror mana as well. And yeah, look at the AD actual difference, but it doesn't really matter because frankly, Makler has the help and support of his team. It's 181 to Yellowpete over 132, but simply put, Makler, it doesn't matter. He's got the gold. He's still actually even with him, despite the fact he's 50 CS behind.
Yeah, and that's because of all these team fights, and he just completed a major item. He just got Infinity Edge done. We see a death cap actually coming out of Czaru. So that damage just skyrocketed, not to mention that Fiendish Codex. Look at all these items just being picked up. If you look at the score, but they're just popping up everywhere. The Runic Bulwark done, Swiftness Boots done for Mokatte. They even have a Giant's Belt picked up for Kubon. So just the items they have, they just completely outscale Evil Geniuses right now. And I'm hard-pressed to find a way for EG to get back in this with just how far they're behind. And not to mention, the big thing is that Blue Blood Ezreal's come about quite a bit now, right? You see him quite consistently. But the major downside to him is if you fall behind early on, then you're going to kind of stay behind. You need that some sort of little bit of advantage to kind of get your foot in the ground. And he hasn't been able to do that. Yeah, he has a CS advantage, but he doesn't have the items completed that he needs.
Evil Geniuses are positioning here. They know that the dragon has spawned, and honestly, I think they realize that this is kind of last chance saloon for them. They know they're a long way behind, but Snoopeh's going to try and come in and steal this one away. Aqua Prison goes down, actually does land, as does the charge on towards Mokatte, but look at that, slow comes straight out from Makler, and they immediately disengage from this one. They're diving in, they're throwing everything in there. There comes the wave straight away, and in comes Czaru. He throws out a couple of shots on towards Snoopeh. Snoopeh's still trying to be aggressive, but they're just losing the health here, and they are just having problems. While this is all happening, Kubon, he's on the inner turret in the top lane, and he's taking it down. He's got no problem at all at the moment, and the rest of Evil Geniuses, they are now running away from a 4-man Meet Your Maker's chase.
And look at that beautiful picture-in-picture, so we can keep track of both parts of action that's happening. And Mokatte, with those swiftness boots you saw right there, he could not be slowed by Snoopeh. He was able to completely run away from that with the help of Nami. So EG, after that entire engage that they won for, they come out losing completely in a 5v4, and not to mention their top turret.
And they may even lose the bottom turret because the rest of Meet Your Makers are continuing on here. They're going to wipe out the wave, and Evil Geniuses, every time they try it, they just fall against the counter of Meet Your Makers. And look at the poke. Kubon is now pushing on towards the inhibitor turret. He's keeping the pressure on in that top lane. Somebody has to deal with him, and that is going to be another inner turret by Meet Your Makers. So well played, all off the back of simply trying to push the dragon.
And the thing is, like you're saying, Kubon pushing top, then they have to send someone to deal with him, but as we've seen before, it takes more than 2 people to deal with him because he can kill one and escape. So EG, they can't even do that, and yet they tried to make a play happen, just like you said, pushing into MYM, but the great disengage out of them was just phenomenal. The Nami ultimate, especially, just to hold EG back from going for any sort of engage, and Makler was just ulting away, getting them lower and lower.
And that is the dragon picked up. And wow, look at the goal differences now. You can see it's 2,500 to Czaru over Froggen, which is something you just don't often see. 10,000 gold overall in the top lane, of course, as well. That's just about 2,300 gold. The jungler's got a huge difference. Mokatte, he's at 2,000, nearly 3,000 actually closing in on. That is enormous in terms of differences between those two. Even the support as well, it's a 2k difference nearly for Libik. So overall, all those objectives that they have gained, 6-1 in turrets, the dragons they've picked up, the kills they've picked up, everybody has been there getting those assists, and it's put Meet Your Makers in a massive power position over Evil Geniuses. They desperately need those Muramanas completed.
I will say this though, we saw Evil Geniuses in this position last week. Them versus Lemon Dogs.
Was it Lemon Dogs? It was, yes.
And we saw Lemon Dogs go for Baron, but in the end, oh my god, he's doing a cheeky ultimate just to get rid of the wave. But in the end, EG stole away a Baron from Lemon Dogs, almost got back in the game, but when they tried to take Baron themselves, Lemon Dogs took that away and ended up taking the victory. So Meet Your Makers, I'm not sure if they're going to go for anything similar to that this time. Maybe they'll just finish it themselves. And what's funny enough is, in the spring split, the new teams that came in, you know, from the usual 4 or 5 that we know, they had the toughest time closing out games. But every new team that's come in to this split has the ability to do that.
Yeah, and they've not hanged around. Let's put it that way. Like you say, you know, if they smell blood, they go for it. Alternate with their drivers in that. Meet Your Makers have been doing the same thing. If you think back, like you say, the start of the spring split, so many teams were struggling to do that. Even the top ones as well. We're not just talking about the guys that got demoted effectively. Libik just coming around, puts that ward down. Will he throw out that Aqua Prison? No. EG do turn around and take that ward down. No, they don't. It didn't quite get the last hit on it. And now it's a siege time, and well, what a better to have in a siege than Cogmore that can fire from Charm lands on towards Froggen. That's going to be the wild growth, but he is down. The wave comes through, and it's Wickd that's surfing it, and Snoopeh's going to get dropped incredibly low. The rappel comes out. Kubon goes diving in. Wickd gets dropped. They're going to stamp on those globules. That is going to be a very big Dane dropped on towards the floor, and Kubon will claim that one down, and it's going to be the inhibitor turret going down. The inhibitor will follow, and Meet Your Makers are demolishing Evil Geniuses here.
All it takes is that one charm to come out, and they just pile on top of that and just blow them up, and it looks looks like Krepo might even be a victim of it.
Oh, no, the charm again, the Aqua Prison lands, and it's just sinking the fangs in for Kubon once again. It's actually Mokatte that picks up the final kill. The ball goes down, and Yellowpete, well, he's on that turret. Oh, and the fountain, he goes down, and that is going to be Meet Your Makers taking home the victory over Evil Geniuses in commanding style. Froggen's going to come out and do what he can, but he just gets charmed up again, and well, Czaru is just being a beast once again on Ari. You've got to ban Ari against Czaru. 9-0-5 once again. Meet Your Makers, they didn't even sweat for that game. They just dominated it.